Hey, boys and girls. It's Joel Cheeseman here. I guess it's been a minute. Listen, with RecFest going on and 4th of July coming, Chad and I are pretty busy. So we thought that we would let you listen to one of Mo's interviews with author Dan Lyons. So enjoy that. Enjoy the 4th of July. Enjoy your vacation. Enjoy family. If you're not in the U.S., just, I guess, hang out while the Americans get wild and crazy. We will return with your regularly scheduled programming after the break. Now to Mo.
Done. I think we'll cover speed and hiring.
Did somebody say speed? Then buckle up, boys. You're about to learn how to hire fast.
Who is that?
Vetty Betty. From Vetty, the hiring acceleration platform. Come on, man. Keep up. What's up, Betty?
Hey, Chad. Vetty makes high compliance hiring easy. Background checks, licensing verifications, and health screenings, all in one place. Real-time updates, no red tape, and no delays. Hiring managers can move fast, stay smooth, and close the deal.
So they just sit back and watch. Hell, I could watch this all day.
That's right. Relax, enjoy the view, and don't lose the hire. It's that simple. With Vetty, it's all taken care of before they can even catch their breath.
Best lesson ever.
Class dismissed, boys. Vetty. Hiring as it should be. Visit vetty.co to learn more.
The other guy was like a little bit older than I was, I think, even, but he spotted me like the first day or first week and like tracked me down. And he said, I heard they hired you, man. Like, you got to go to lunch and stuff. So we became like little lunch buddies, you know, like the two old guys.
Is it like in Silicon Valley where Monica is made to be best friends with the new coder?
Yeah.
Just because she's another woman at the tech company?
Well, and just like that, I said to him at one point, like, dude, we got to break up. Like, we can't be seen as a pair. Like, you come over to my desk and then all my colleagues see you and we go, okay, going off to lunch, you know, me and my buddy.
Old guys.
Yeah, the two old guys walking out. Like, we can't, it looks worse than either of us alone. We should meet at the restaurant. Let's like leave separately, and come back separately. Don't get seen.
Like it was a clandestine affair or something.
Yeah. Like, we don't want to couple up.
Welcome to It Gets Late Early. Today is a big day for me. This is kind of a bit of a bucket list moment for me as a podcaster because this book, the author of this book, Disrupted, Dan Lyons, is here with me today. And this book is kind of like the OG book about being old in tech, which is actually a large part of the reason I decided to do this podcast. And this really set me off on the path. So for better or worse, Dan Lyons, thank you for writing this book because this podcast wouldn't probably exist without you. And I'm just really grateful that you said yes. So thank you. Welcome.
Oh, gosh. Thank you for having me on. I'm really always grateful to meet anybody who liked anything I wrote, to be honest. So yeah, thank you. I'm looking forward to talking with you about it.
Awesome. So for those of you who don't know, Dan wrote the New York Times bestselling book, Disrupted, which is all about joining a tech startup at the ripe old age of 52 and feeling like a fish out of water from the get-go. And he also wrote for the absolute smash hit HBO comedy series Silicon Valley, which is about Silicon Valley. So Dan is amazing. And everybody who doesn't know about his work, that's on you. You got to go figure that out and read the book and watch the series.
Yes. That'd be great. Please do buy many copies of the book. But yeah, that was the thing. I always found tech to be really funny. It seems to me such a great source of comedy.
It is. I mean, tech is hysterical. I mean, which you so rightly point out in the book and throughout Silicon Valley, which is essentially a documentary, as many people have said.
People say that. Yeah.
So Dan, take us back in time. It's around 2012, and there are all sorts of changes afoot in the media industry, in the journalism world. And you decide after losing your job, which was a tough story to read, by the way, and plenty of us in tech are feeling that these days. There's been a massive layoff boom. But you lose your job and then you decide to make your way into the tech startup world. Tell me a little bit about that transition.
Sure. Right. So yeah, I was at Newsweek, and you could see it was coming. Most of my colleagues had already taken buyouts. I, for whatever reason, hung on and got laid off. And, some of the refugees from Newsweek had ended up at Time, and I called over there and like, no, we already have tech people. Sorry. So like no jobs. And
how long have you been at Newsweek, by the way?
Only 4 years, but then I've been at Forbes for 10 years before that.
That's like a lifetime in tech.
Yeah, right. I know. But, for many of the last years of those jobs, you're always waiting for the next layoff. It's when the internet was starting to really eat away at the business. So, you've been in a dying business for a long time. And I had toyed with the idea over the years of switching over and going to work at a tech company, because I had covered all these companies and I saw all these people, making a fortune. And I thought, they're no smarter than I am. I mean, the PR people and stuff, I was like, I could do that, So I thought, I had actually interviewed over the years for different jobs, and half-heartedly. Anyway, so this time I said, okay, this is it. I'm going to go work in tech, which is what, all old journalists do at a certain point. All my friends have gone to do that. They're all at tech companies now. They all landed pretty well. And I thought, well, where? And so I had connections at different companies, and I went out and interviewed. I had one really great opportunity that I wish I had taken, but I didn't. And my wife didn't really want to leave Boston. And the problem is there's not a lot of tech in Boston. And then I found a place in Cambridge that was hiring, and they were startup. And I thought, well, good, I'll go there. This is cool. And it's a startup. So you might get, you're getting on the ground floor on something that's really going to take off is maybe better than going to some big company that's,
totally. A lot of calculation.
Yeah. And also it was just, I wouldn't have to disrupt the family. We could just stay here and I would have this job. And I was going to be writing. So I kind of thought, well, same kind of work, and my skills will be applicable here. It's a good, because that's the challenge you have as a journalist is what skills do you really have, like research, reporting, and writing. And we tend, however, not to have great, we tend to be a little more blunt, or a little people, like rude in our business, but with each other, we all get it. You know what I mean? And we kind of we tend to be cynical. We tend to be,
It's fun being in a newsroom. I kind of miss it. It's great.
Yeah, right. It's like, it's great if you like it. So you have to kind of tone that down, and so that's the challenge when you're a journalist, crossing over is more that, like the cultural, behavioral thing. So, but I thought, that'll be a challenge, but in my mind, I'm still young, like I'm 52, I'm 52, like that's, and yeah, so that's how I ended up going to work at a startup.
So at that time, you weren't particularly concerned about your age getting in the way.
I'd never even thought about my age.
Wow. You were in for an awakening, it sounds like. So,
yeah.
So talk about, so you've explained a little bit why you chose the company that you landed at. Makes sense. All of that very relatable. Tell me what it was like when you walked in the doors that very first day. Take us back.
It's a great scene in the book, right?
Yes, there is.
Over 80% of you watching right now, you watch over and over. We know you do, but you haven't liked and you haven't subscribed. Let's do that. Let's do that now.
And I think it's the opening scene in the book, the opening of the intro of the chapter, the first chapter. And actually, I sold this and I adapted it as a film script and didn't get made, but it was the same opening of the movie. The poor schlub riding into work. So I looking back now, I realized what happened is the two founders hired me.
And you were early enough that you had founders interviewing you.
Well, and I was like old enough. One of the founders had seen me give a talk once, and he liked the talk, and they kind of, I guess, I don't know. I also found out later that other people had been through the same thing. The founders hired them, put them in the job I had, and then they all got, it was all a train wreck. Over and over, it was a train wreck. And so they assigned me to the CMO. And I interviewed with the CMO, and it seemed to go well. But then, so I thought I was reporting to the CMO. I was kind of disappointed. I thought I'd report to the founder. I kind of thought I should be like their advisor, you know? And they were like, no. And then it turns out the CMO didn't want me either. And
great story.
So I showed up like on Monday morning, you know, like bright eye. And and the woman at the desk is a young woman. I forget her name. She's really funny. I ended up really liking her. But she's like, okay, and I can help you. I'm like, yeah, I'm here. It's my first day. I'm a new employee. She's like, you are? Like looking at me like, what, you know? Because people used to stop me and be like, are you looking for someone? I thought maybe you were someone's parent. I'm like,
yeah, he's like, bring your parent to work day.
Yeah. So I was like, no, I work here. And she's like, you do? I was like, well, it's my first day. And it's like, well, who do you work for? Who's your boss? And I tell her the CMO. She makes a call, and I'm sitting there now. I'm watching. They have a TED Talks on loop in their little waiting area. You know, sitting there with my little backpack, trying to look like a cool startup guy. And she comes back and says, well, the CMO isn't here. Okay. I said, oh, there's some other guy I talked to who works for the CMO. Maybe he's around. Right? No, he's not here either. And I'm like, oh, jeez. Then I'm thinking, like, did I have the wrong week? You know, I look at my calendar, like, maybe I'm supposed to start next Monday, you know? Like, no, it's pretty sure it says right here, come in Monday. So, this guy, she said, hold on a second. And this guy comes out and he's like, oh, hey, Dan. And he's like, I don't know, a young guy, nice guy, like 23, 24. He had worked at Google briefly for like 2 years selling ads. And then he was here and he had just started. And I didn't know what he did, but I thought maybe he was like the admin for the CMO. You know what I mean? And he said, well, you know, those guys aren't around, but I'm going to take you around, just give you a tour of the place, show you where everything is. Okay. Help you get settled in. So I'm thinking, okay, this is like, you know, that, you know? Yeah. And so we go around, he's showing me, and it's, you know, increasingly more insane, like the big game room and the candy wall and the kitchen and this and that, you know, the whole thing is just crazy. And there's all like motivational sayings everywhere, but I'm kind of like, oh, this is cool. This is startup-y.
Playing around? Huh? That's my personal favorite.
The what?
Are there instruments laying around? I've seen that at some companies.
Oh,
too.
There was. In fact, we went by one thing and there was like a drum kit and some guitars and stuff and amps. And he's like, yeah, it's just if someone wants to jam for a little bit. And I was like, and I said, well, does anybody ever do that? He's like, no, but it's there because it's like our culture. I was like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, you know, we're fun. Okay, you're a fun culture. Okay, I get it. And it's like, yeah, like we do outings where everybody goes and we do go-karts and stuff. Like it's really fun. It's a really fun place. Yeah, I get it. Okay, it seems really fun, you know? And then we go to he said, oh, let's go to a little office, you know, because everybody worked open style. He had these little meeting rooms, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And you had to reserve them.
Fancy, right?
Yeah, it's awful. So we go into this little tiny room and it's a whiteboard. And he said, do you know how the marketing department is organized? And I'm like, no. Well, let me show you. So he starts drawing so we don't really have org charts, but you know, this is what the org chart would be. And there's this and that. Then over here is this team. Over here is this team. And then that's me. And then you're in here. And I'm like, looking at it, I go, holy shit. Okay. So wait a minute. So do I work for you? Like, are you my boss? And he said, well, we don't really have bosses, but I'm like, but you're my boss. He's like, yeah, basically. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I thought you were, yeah, I didn't say what I thought, but, and then suddenly I had this like panic attack. He's like, well, let's go show you where you're going to be working. And I'm like, all right, okay. And, so I'm following him. And now as I'm looking around, I realize they're all children. And I start having this acid flashback where like they all look like in this like LSD way, they look like they were 12-year-olds playing dress up. And I was like, oh shit, like they're kids, you know? Now this sounds very ageist on my part, and that's what they would say. Is that I was very.
It does go both ways. You're correct.
Right, and they, you know, and they would say like, yeah, you just wrote us all off because we were only 22 or something, and like, yeah, you know, whatever. It's just weird, right? And so we get to this little room, and there's like they call it the content factory. There's like, I don't know, 10 or 12 people. It's a little tiny thing. It used to be like a library, and it was just desks lined up, like two desks facing, you know, you and I sitting across the table
all day,
making the content. And so I met them all, but I can't remember any of their names. You know what I mean? And like, And he's like, well, I don't know where we're going to put you, but we have there's like a spare desk over here, and we'll get you a laptop, and like there's like a bouncy ball chair, like a big orange bouncy ball chair. And I'm like, dude, I don't know, can I get a chair? Like, so on the one hand, I don't want to look like I'm old and I'm like, I'm not cool. But on the other hand, like I'll wipe out. If I sit on that thing, I am going to fall, and there's a whole room. They were, I think, all women. There might've been one guy, but it's basically
that's a rarity in tech too. So you must have been in either HR or marketing. So there you are.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm going to wipe out on the floor in front of all these women. And they're just going to laugh their asses off me. And it's day one. So they said, we'll get you a chair. So they went and found a real chair. And then I don't know, somehow got me a laptop.
Wow.
And they're like, okay, so you're all set. And I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? Like, oh, I don't know. Just who hired you? I'm like, well, we've
been through this. What
did he tell you? What did he tell you you're going to do? I was like, I don't tell you, but he told me I was going to be running the blog, and like all these people over here that work on the blog, I think I'm going to be their boss, because the founders were like, our blog sucks. We need someone to come in and fix it. So I kind of thought like, oh, that's what I'm doing.
These people report to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And they're like, no, that's not the case. And so like really for a while, I didn't know what I was doing. And then I think I went and got a badge, and went
that's
down to the candy wall.
Yeah.
What?
That's
you don't know what to do. Onboarding, there's all this stuff. Oh no, then there was 2 weeks of training or onboarding or a week.
Oh yeah. That's when they sell the Kool-Aid super hard.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so that kept me busy for a couple of weeks, but then I still really didn't know, what do I do here? And they're like, I learned the really bad thing is I've heard people say, well, it's kind of job is going to be kind of like what you make it, you just go, we don't give a lot of direction here. And I was like,
we like go-getters though.
And it's like, if you need a lot of direction, this isn't a good place for you. And it's like, well, a little direction would be good,
The slightest bit would be.
I was talking on when the book came out and I was doing promo. I went to WGBH, the radio station in Boston, for a interview with the woman who has a show on the radio, Callie Crossley. And like, she couldn't believe this. And I was like, yeah, I know. I said, but Callie, it would be like you got hired here and you showed up on the first day and you said, okay, what do I do? And they were like, well, I don't know. Here's a microphone. I guess, just hang out. We'll figure something out. Like,
some candy at the candy wall.
Yeah. You'd say to you, you have the 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. slot and your show is about no, there was none. So yeah, like pretty quickly, I knew this was a mistake.
That's so brutal. And I mean, we all have reality, right? That we have to deal with, right? We live in a country that doesn't give us health insurance. So
right.
You need to go get a job. You have a family that you need to provide for. So you're in between a rock and a hard place, right? There's a point in the book when you talk about the overt ageism that is displayed by your CEO at that company, where he literally says on the record, like, we really want to hire people who are younger, essentially. And you then in response went on your personal Facebook and you made a post about that. And so that's one thing that I'd love for you to walk the audience through, because, a lot of people in tech are feeling that. You had just people like the floodgates open and people were like, me too, me too, me too. So I think that's really what this podcast is all about, is validating people's experience. So I would love if we could take a bit of this interview and have you recollect exactly what happened there and kind of walk down that delightful memory lane.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I'm sorry if this is going to be a little scarring for you.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. It's like reopening all these things. Well, oddly enough, many, many years later, that experience also led me to write the more recent book, Shut the F Up. Yeah. Because I look back on that now and realize, God, I should have just said nothing. So to recap, CEO of the company was interviewed in the New York Times and said, in effect, we really only want to hire young people. And the money quote was like, gray hair and experience are really overrated.
Yes, in tech.
And then I was like, okay, you know what I mean? But then they were very aggressive in PR, and they gave, the word came out to the whole company, like 500 people, like, we all get to get out there and put this on your social and promote this and drive traffic to this article.
You're like, drive traffic to an article that says you don't want me at this company. Awesome.
Yeah, but like, whatever, but they didn't even think of that. Like, it didn't, and it wasn't like,
of course not, because you were one of two people there.
Two. There's like two guys.
Yeah.
The other guy was like a little bit older than I was, I think, even, but he spotted me like the first day or first week, and like tracked me down, and he said, "I heard they hired you, man. Like, you got to go to lunch and stuff." So we became like little lunch buddies, like the two old guys.
Is it like in Silicon Valley where Monica is made to be best friends with the new coder? Yeah. Just because she's another woman at the tech company?
Well, and just like that, I said to him at one point, like, dude, we got to break up. Like, we can't be seen as a pair. Like, you come over to my desk, and then all my colleagues see you, and we go, okay, going off to lunch, me and my buddy.
Old guys.
Yeah, the two old guys walking out. Like, we can't, it looks worse than either of us alone. So we should meet. We should meet at the restaurant. Let's like leave separately, and come back separately. Don't get seen. Like it was a clandestine affair or something. Yeah. Like, we don't want to couple up. And he was having similar issues like I was, and neither of us could really say anything about it. So it was like we kind of, it was like a support group. But so yeah, there were no old people. So I didn't think they were afraid. I think the CEO probably didn't even think anyone would care. And in fact, the place was like, the average age was 26, and it was really full of young kids. And in many ways that made sense, right? Or some of it. I could see why. So here's the other. So having come from the journalism world, you're a little freer in that world to be kind of irreverent about your own institution or your boss. A little bit. In the sake, you can be a little obnoxious and get away with it. Like, I worked at Forbes, and they had a deal for a while where they did a show on Fox, and it was called Forbes on Fox, and they were all conservative. This is way before MAGA. Like, this is like they're sane kind of conservative. Like, good old days. Yeah, it was before. Before they went mad, man. It was like before even what was the one? The Tea Party. Oh, they were even before that. Yeah. So like, we would all make fun of it because we're all liberals. One of my friends was the token liberal on the show, so they could beat up on somebody every week. And like, we all knew, and they knew, and it was like, fine. We could rip on them, So, but I had a funny joke about, I quoted the CEO and then said, says the CEO of the company where I fucking work. And, all caps. You put that on your Facebook. Yeah. And I thought about it for a while. I was like, no. And I deleted it, put it back, deleted it. And, looking back now being older and wiser and, more heavily medicated, I think now I would know enough to just say, you know what, walk away. If you want to do it tomorrow, like, come back tomorrow. Don't do it now. But instead I hit, publish or whatever. And I didn't realize, I thought it was funny, right? And I had a link to the article too. And I kind of thought it was funny. Like, haha, yeah, guess what? My boss doesn't like me. Like, I know the guy liked me. You know what I mean? It wasn't a serious rip. I was a little peeved, but it was also kind of like, oh, this guy kind of stepped in it here, And you gotta call people out. Like, I kind of figured it would be the kind of thing where the CEO would be like, Dan, I'd be like, hey, come on, man. Come on. What are you talking about? And he'd be like, oh, sorry. He had gray hair. You know what I mean? That's the other thing. It's like, come on, man. Yeah. Like, but I thought, we'd laugh about it. Like, hey, man, that made me feel special. Ha, ha, ha. Anyway, but...
Hello, I'm Omar, founder and CEO of JobPixel. I'm going to talk about two things. Number one is JobPixel. We do short form video content. So if you're a recruitment, marketing, or employer branding leader, you have to do video content, collect content from your employees. You're going to be able to show impact that you've never seen before. Number two, I would love to talk about People Brain Collective. People Brain Collective is a new organization that just got started by some of the best minds in our industry. And it brings all recruitment, marketing, and employer branding leaders together in one place to have a conversation about the impact of their work. I promise you, it's something you do not want to miss. So after this video, you'll see a QR code. Scan that QR code with your phone, go to their website and sign up for a membership. You will not regret it. They have amazing people talking about the best topics you'll absolutely love. Thank you, and I can't wait to see you there.
The people that I knew on Facebook all started piling in. And to your point about your podcast, this was the first time I became aware of this, but it was really, really a visceral issue for them. They were all, I guess my age, more or less, a lot of them. And I think all had felt this kind of thing. And really, really, it started getting a lot of comments, and I was like, oh shit, man, this is not good. This is supposed to, and they were really going to town, like making it worse than it was. Cause it was like the guy made a little toss off comment in an interview. He probably wished he hadn't said it because what he said is essentially like illegal, right?
Yeah,
and
it is actually.
It would be like saying, we really don't like to hire, women because, they get pregnant and, they're not as smart as the men, anyway. So man, it was the first time, like I said, that I felt the strength of how strong the people feel about age bias. And then it could have just died right then. But then the head of PR at the company weighed in, commenting on my post because they would watch everybody's social all the time.
Oh yeah,
it's like saying, typical blah 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 blah. I think blah 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 blah. Right, like sounded kind of like PR thing, but really like.
What do you remember what it was? Like,
no, I don't remember. But it was something
possibly have been.
I sort of remember, but their PR was always sort of very Orwellian, like sort of happy, blah blah blah, right. And then I'm like, oh shit. So the people at work have seen this, right?
Yeah.
Like this isn't good. Then the CMO weighed in and said, well, the CEO, I think is good because where he stands. He says what's on his mind, So,
oh my gosh. Even if it's legal, he says what's on his mind.
Or just like, even if it's, hurtful or unkind. Anyway, other people are teeing off on these people so bad. It gets really ugly. And it went on.
Facing page.
Yeah, I don't even know how long. And I started thinking, like, I should delete this.
This is awful.
Like, I should delete the original post to make it go away, but now it's too late. And if I do that, it will look like the internet server. It'll look like they made me take it down. Oh, so then I was like, I don't know what to do. So I figured I'll try to make a joke out of it. So I found like pictures of myself as a kid. Like there was one. I was an altar boy when I was a kid, and I had a picture like in my little robes going like this. It's a really funny. It's like I'm looking very serious. My hair's all combed, and I'm like in front of the fireplace, having this formal picture done. It's either I don't think first communion we wore robes, but anyway. So I'm wearing these little robes, and I'm like 12 or whatever, and I posted it saying, something about something I just been hired as senior director of content marketing or something, and I have a lot of good ideas. Like we should, because people are like, oh, what's next? They're going to hire like teenagers and stuff. Like, yeah, they're the smartest. So I can't even remember the jokes. But it was like, yeah, I just applied. My new. So I thought, well, it might as well make it funny, and maybe that'll save me. But, it didn't really. So when I went back to work, I went in the next day and like, so everybody's looking at me. They all know, and
Facebook gate.
Yeah. And the CEO never said a word to me. And someone said to me, he didn't care. He wasn't bothered at all. But the head of PR was like livid. And I had to go make a formal apology, like a re-education camp thing. And I had to do it very publicly and tell her that I was sorry. And the reason was that she was mad because this had been a big coup for her to get this, drive traffic to get this article in the New York Times.
It's a big
yeah, right. And then I had ruined it for her. And on the other hand, like, no, I really drove probably more traffic to that article than anybody else's post, right?
It's bad press, doesn't she know that?
Anyway, she's really mad, like really, really mad and like really hurt. And I had to go, I ordered, there were like these cookies, like really nice cookies you could have delivered. I used to get them sometimes when, I worked at Ford's for like 10 years, and it's like the IT people would come and save me and help my computer. I'd order a box of these things, have them sent to the IT department. Hey guys, and they're always like, hey man, it's like a way to say thanks to somebody,
That's
and
nice.
It's a little gesture.
Have never liked me. I never sent them cookies. Good tip.
No. So I sent her cookies. I think it was cookies or brownies. No, it was brownies. These like really expensive, really good brownies. And I made a point of, first I had a big thing with her and I talked to her and I'm really sorry. And then I made this big gesture, like the brownies are delivered by somebody, and she opens them and there's this groveling note from me. And of course, everybody around her sees it and it's like, come have brownies. Dan got me brownies because he's an asshole, So I was like, okay, it was a very public mea culpa, like, okay, I really fell on my sword in a big way. And then it was kind of never brought up again. And then they hired a new guy in to be my boss. And I said to him, like a couple months later, I said, hey, man, I think I'm pretty screwed at this company because of this thing. He said, oh, no, I know about that. Nobody cares about that at all. Nobody cares about that.
No.
But then it was a year later. But I kind of think I sealed my fate. Although I've thought about it since, like, I think maybe they were never going to keep me for 4 years. They often would hire people, keep you for a couple years, and then you're out. You know what I mean? They didn't want me to vest, but I vested a little bit, but yeah. So anyway, I think that was the first time my eyes were open to the idea of, that job was the first time I had ever seen anything like that, in terms of age. I had come from Newsweek where I was, say, 50. John Meacham, the editor, was 39 and won a Pulitzer Prize while we were working there, while he's also editing Newsweek. And we're all like, Jesus, and then my boss was, my direct boss, the business editor, was a woman who's almost exactly my age. And then, I was never even aware of age. There were older people, younger people, but it wasn't like, hey, when I was at Forbes, the editor of Forbes was like 90 years old. He had been around forever. Jim Michaels was like a legend. But it just had never. And I had always been in these workplaces.
I read in the book that you had just actually published an article, not you necessarily, but Newsweek had published an article about the beached white male or something like that.
Yeah.
How males in their 40s and 50s plus couldn't find jobs anywhere. So you had that probably in the back of your mind, right?
Totally.
And that's where a lot of people are, right? They're in the sort of the midlife collision. I heard that term the other day. Instead of the midlife crisis, which is also a thing, the midlife collision, where you have all these responsibilities. You might have personal health struggles. You might have aging parents. You might have young children you're supporting. You need to get health insurance, so on and so forth. And so you have to just kind of make it work, right? And so I imagine you've walked into the situation, and I feel like, especially coming from more of a traditional background, you were unlikely to view like a short stint in a tech company as something that was passable or okay, or something that wouldn't be an issue for you moving forward, right? So I imagine you were like, shit, I really effed this up, but I'm here and now I just have to make it happen. So talk about that reality.
Yeah. Well, also I remember thinking like, this is a great job. I can work another 10, 15 years at this place because this company is going to grow and grow and go. This will be my last job. I'll retire from here. I'll work my way up. This company grows, I'll grow, and I'll have, it was just so stupid. Like so stupid.
But you worked in tech before. I mean, the things you described to me, just sort of the Montessori like vibe and like the young sort of atmosphere, like that speaks very true to me because I've been in tech for a while now, but that was your first foray into it. And you were unlikely to probably hear the nitty gritty from your friends who had left the journalism profession and gotten into tech, in some parts probably for self-preservation. They're like, yeah, it's great. Never look back. Love it. Right. Like people don't necessarily tell you exactly how they're feeling.
Well, and they did say it was an adjustment. One of them told me like, dude, you'll never do this. Cause even among journalists, I was kind of obnoxious. And, although, one of my friends who's the most obnoxious journalist I ever knew has had a fantastic run. And I'm not going to say where because then
we don't want to out this obnoxious.
I mean, he's as outspoken and as whatever as I am, I would say. And he's done very, very well. He's somehow managed to do it, I actually think.
Company? Or is he still in journalism?
No, he's still working in tech company.
Okay. Wow.
He left journalism a while ago. And like all my friends, everybody bailed out, even the ones who were at decent places. All the people from Forbes that I worked with they're all over the tech industry now. It's like they're all scattered to the winds,
Well, it's kind of booming until recently, I guess. Booms and busts, bubbles, right? Booms, busts, and bubbles.
Yeah, and then there was a period where they were all hiring in-house journalists, and they were going to build their own newsrooms. That was a little fad for a while.
Sounds like something Gavin Belson would do and then like scrub the internet.
Yeah, it is. Like, in fact, it would be something. Hulu would create their own newsroom, hire a bunch of, journalists, like, washed up magazine guys and make them cover their own industry, and try to present it as like, but we're neutral. We're not biased. This isn't sales. We're not just selling stuff.
So speaking of Gavin Belson and Hulu, tell us how you got the call to go work on HBO Silicon Valley, which, by the way, I was able to call it work to rewatch it for the third time in anticipation of this interview. Yeah. So
you can.
Like, dude, why are you watching Silicon? I'm like, it's work. It's preparation.
Yeah, it's research. Yeah. And you can expense that.
Yeah. My HBO.
That month anyway. I had done this back in the Forbes days and into Newsweek. I had this blog called Fake Steve Jobs, or a character called Fake Steve Jobs. And I wrote a blog and I pretended to be Steve Jobs. And it was really funny. And I was anonymous for a long time. So there was a big, which I knew was good marketing. Like everybody would want to know. There'd be a whole thing about like, who is this? Who is this masked man? And then I finally got caught. And then I published a book, like a fake novel, first-person novel by Fake Steve Jobs.
I've got to read that.
It's pretty crazy. It's called Options. It's it's not a good book. But I kind of thought like, oh, this is going to get savage. I think one review came out and it was like so brutal. I thought maybe we should cancel the book. Oh, the pre-publication, like one of those places, like I forget what they're called, but the little pre-pub ones, they're all a little bit earnest, and they didn't like it. Or no, there was some tech reporter wrote a bad review, and I was like, oh, I called my wife. I was like, shit, this is going to be bad for me. And then, but then others came out and they were like, oh, this is like Jonathan Swift and Voltaire and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll take that, like NPR. I was on what's the show with Kai Ryssdal? Is that Marketplace? Yes. Yeah, so suddenly it got all this good attention. I mean, it didn't sell very well, but, and then it got attention in Hollywood, and the guy who made Bruno and Borat, like he read it, and I got teamed up with him by a production company. We developed it as a show, and we sold it to Epix, and then it lingered for a while and languished, and then they said we're not going to make it.
Oh man!
And we had pitched to HBO, and HBO turned us down. Showtime had made an offer too. We should have gone with them anyway. Wow. So, because there was a lot of appetite, all the meetings we had, you could tell they had all been trying to find some way to tell a story about Silicon Valley. They were all aware of it, up north. Mm-hmm. There's this stuff going on, but how do we get our teeth into it? So then Mike Judge sold Silicon Valley to HBO, and the agent who sold it was my agent at WME. And so I wrote to him. I was like, hey, dude, like, if they ever need writers and stuff, like, can you, get me in on that? And he's like, yeah, we'll see, and I totally forgot about it. And I went to work at that startup and, was going along. And then one day out of the blue, like I got a call from WME from the guy who had been the assistant to my agent the last time I talked to them, and now had become an agent. And he was like, yeah, so look, the HBO guy, the guys on that show want to, if they get renewed, would you come work on season 2? I said, yeah, sure. And yeah, so that was it basically, because my scripts had been floating around out there, and I guess because the guy I partnered with, Larry Charles, does a lot of stuff at HBO. He works on Curb Your Enthusiasm stuff. So Larry was out there with these scripts floating around of mine, and I think showed them to those guys. Anyway, that's how it happened. Yeah.
So when it happened, were you like, okay, this is it. This is my ticket out of here. Like, I'm going to have this writing career in Hollywood. Yeah. What was that like?
Yeah. Again, super naive and stupid on my part, but I was, yeah, really, I was like ready to move again. My wife's like, we're not moving to Los Angeles. Yeah. I was all like, oh, this is it, my big break. And, and then I had meetings with my agents, and they were like, yeah, look, this is such a good credit. If you want to move here, we can keep you working forever. You make they quoted some numbers. I was like, whoa, that sounds good, And one guy, they said a number, and then he and the other guy, he said to the other guy, look at his face, because I was like, they were like, oh,
Poker face on there, Dan.
I was like, wow, really? And but then, I did the one season. I actually didn't get hired back. The guy, he basically didn't hire back. The entire room got let go. Which is, I think, that showrunner was his deal. Some shows hire you and then you're in. Other shows just bump the whole room. And
interesting. Why would they do that? Is that a negotiation tactic? Or
no, I think it's like, the showrunner of that show really began his career at Seinfeld. Seinfeld always did this. Larry David would hire a bunch of people in, suck them dry for a season, get all the ideas out of them, and then let's get a bunch of fresh people in with new ideas.
Like
yeah. Yeah. It was really, it was very much like a startup, a TV show. But then I didn't get hired back, and I was kind of pissed. All of us were. And
after season 3, you didn't get hired back?
That was after I did season 2, didn't get hired back. But then when the writing season for season 3 began, they got stuck. And they didn't want to call me, like the showrunner was too proud. So they had one of the producers, who was like Mike Judge's manager, whatever, call me out of the blue. And meanwhile, I was working on Disrupted, the book, because I'd gone through that whole fiasco with the startup. That had ended. I sold a book. And he called up and he's like, I think you would come out maybe and work. Would that be okay? Like, they knew, like, you're probably pissed or whatever. And so, so I said, yeah, I'll do that. Whatever.
So Disrupted sort of solidified your place in the writer's room?
No, because that hadn't even come out yet. That was just a manuscript. They didn't know anything about it. And I was, I was always kind of peripheral to, there's like 12 people in that show writing, and no one person, well, a couple of people at the top who did all the talking, but like otherwise the rest of us were all very small contributors, Yeah, it's a weird job. And it's not a great job, to be honest. I know these people are on strike fighting for these.
Good point.
It's like, the guy, what's his name? Joel Stein. He used to write the back page of Time magazine every week. He wrote like these humor columns. Maybe it's every other, but when I got to LA the first year, someone I knew him and said, "Oh, he'll go. I'll introduce you. Talk to him about," because he had done some TV writing, and I'm all like, "Yeah, this is great. I'm going to write for TV. It's so cool, right?" And we had breakfast. Yeah, it does, right? We had breakfast, and he was like, "Look, I hate to break it for you, because I'm like, how come you're not doing it anymore?" It's like, because honestly, it kind of sucks. And I was like, why? Because he's like, well, you're in the same room around a conference table with the same people every day for, say, 14 weeks. And it's like the longest business meeting of your life. They bring in, and he said, his metaphor was, you're in you have a first class seat on a plane, and they bring you great food, but the plane never lands. You just keep flying and flying and flying around. You know what I mean? And he said, if you're used to writing journalism or even books, you write and there's a thing and you have it. It's very ephemeral. TV, it's very much like you're just talking, Yeah. And if it's not your show, if you're the show creator, and then you have some, then you have some creative control, but otherwise, yeah, you're just.
But I imagine you were quite valuable to them in that you had experience in the startup world, right? Like you could bring things that actually happened or close enough to your work and help inform the direction of their show.
Yeah. That was very true. Yeah, and the fake Steve stuff. What?
Like a documentary in some cases.
Yeah. It very much is. And but the Hooli stuff was really not in the original pilot of that show, and it was just about the guys. And then when they went and reshot the pilot because HBO was going to kill the show, and they added all this Hooli stuff. And the Hooli stuff, I think, was largely drawn on the stuff I was writing, because my show was about a guy like Steve Jobs or Gavin Belson. My guy had a guru. Yeah. He was kind of the whole thing.
What's his name? Denpak? I love that character.
Yeah, it was his Denpak. And so they sort of created a character, and a company over there that was more similar to what I had done. And I was good for plot, like figuring out what would happen next. I was not so good on comedy, even though I thought, I'm really funny. My fake Steve blog was so funny. But then in the room with these guys, I realized there's different levels of funny.
I mean, those guys, and you, comedic geniuses. I mean, that show makes me laugh out loud so much. And there's so many just small nuanced points. Like, for example, the character that got very little airtime, but Jan the Man person in sales. I was like, that is freaking hilarious. The woman who would always say, "Hi, I'm Jan. I'm Jan." They call me Jan the Man before she said anything. It's like, that's so brilliant, because we do have to bro down or we're going to go down, in the words of Ehrlich, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's and the other thing about that show is that, we'd write it all, then they'd do a table read and then rewrite it, whatever, finally get it to the point and they'd shoot it. But then they would then tell all the actors, let's do all these scenes over, but like improvise. And most of the good stuff in that show wasn't from the writers, it was from the actors. It was all the really good stuff was improvised. The framework and the outline, even then in the editing room, they would cut things up. Like I would leave and like there was episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then episode 5 would now, when it aired, would have like, things from 3, but then this other thing from 6. They would mix it all up. But yeah, the biggest revelation to me was those funny actors who are really good improv guys. Yeah.
I mean, that show was it was exceptional. So
it was funny. Yeah.
It was so hysterical. Notably less hysterical, though, was a follow-up work that you did to Disrupted. So Disrupted had me.
That's a polite way of saying it's boring and depressing.
I find it to be a very important work, as do countless other reviewers.
Yeah.
Basically, you excoriate the tech industry in your follow-up book from Disrupted. Disrupted does the beginning job of it, and you get exposed to things that are really pernicious and awful.
Yeah,
Lab Rats crystallizes it all with data and facts and really lays bare some of what has made work suck so much, right?
Yeah,
so tell me about getting through Disrupted, which, by the way, was an international bestseller, a New York Times bestseller, right? Super popular. So that obviously struck a chord with people. It was a revelation into the tech industry, which is, the object of much fascination. But then you followed it up with this really, let's call it a sobering read, Dan.
That's very polite of you.
Really good. It was really good, but it was not as funny because it was so depressing.
Yeah. And I think I should have leaned more on funny and a story rather than, yeah. And actually that book, the book original proposal and the pitch was meant to be funny, and started getting more serious as I was working on it because I just went into journalist mode. But, yeah, in a nutshell, it was like, okay, here's this funny stuff that happened and Disrupted, and I observed it all. Then the next book was, why is that happening? Why do companies treat employees this way? And I traced it back to a business model. And then why does that business model exist? And I ended up tracing it back to, decades of things getting worse and worse. But which is why it's a sobering book. It didn't do very well, that book. It came out the week of the 2018 midterms when Trump was president.
There's
And
a little
nobody,
bit
nobody was buying any books that week, and I can't blame it on that really, but it just, didn't.
Timing does matter though, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think it does. But it was also, I think it was a good book. Like I'm proud of what's in it, but it's not a fun read, like you say. And,
it was honestly, Dan, I was reading it and I thought, do I really want to contribute to this industry? Am I? And then the way in which it's bled out into other industries and informed the way all industry practices now. I was like, well, shit, it's unavoidable, right? Like I'm kind of screwed. Damned if I do, damned if I don't was kind of the overarching theme and thesis at the end of the day for me. So I was like, okay, well, tech might be this way, but then so is everything else now. I guess we're all screwed. We're all in it together, right?
I tried to end with a ray of hope and saying, like, I found a bunch of companies that had good cultures. And then the idea was like, okay, if you want to be like one of those, here's what they do. I sort of studied, I looked at the list of, Fortune magazine does a list of the best places to work, top places to work.
Isn't that pay to play?
Is it? I don't know. Or I hope
I feel
not.
like everything is. Anyway, continue. Give me the way of.
And then over the years, because it's conducted by this company independent of Fortune, but and over the years, there were like, I think 12 companies that had made the list every year for 20 years, something like that. So then I reached out to the company that did the research and talk to some of these people and to find out, like, okay, so what do all these companies have in common? Like what lessons could you extract from these places that then you could copy? And so I tried to extract some lessons from that. And oddly enough, it was, not surprisingly, like places where people are happy are places that treat people well in certain ways. But it wasn't, that's the interesting thing. It wasn't beanbag chairs and beer and game rooms and ping pong tables. It really wasn't. It was continuing education, career advancement, mentorship, good paternity and maternity leave, paid time off. It was all stuff that people really, childcare. Childcare is a huge one.
Childcare.
Yes. And then that made me realize, well, yeah, but all that stuff's expensive and ping pong and beer is really cheap.
Cheap. You know what I mean? And it attracts a different kind of person.
Right. And then you check out because you turn whatever and you decide, you're going to go have a grown-up life. Now you care about childcare. You care about a 401k.
Yep.
You care about health benefits.
The things that were sexy to you when you were young are not the same things that are sexy to you when you are old.
Yeah. Like I never played ping pong at that startup. I was there almost 2 years. I never played ping pong. Never played pool, video games. I don't think I ever played any of the games.
Did you go to the candy wall?
I did a couple times, but it's like, I can't really eat a lot of candy.
That's the other thing. It's like, well, we're going to put on weight at our advanced stage if we just
it's like, I'll have diabetes if I work here. I can't really hit the candy well.
Stress and burnout. Let's not get diabetes while we're at
it's like, look at me, man. You think I can't eat candy? But it was, it was cool. But and I always add this sort of asterisk that most people there were really having a great time. Like a lot of people there were having a really, really great time and have fantastic memories. And then there were some people who would get chewed up and like you didn't fit. You get,
culture fit, right?
Yeah, culture fit. And I ended up, after my book came out, all these people came out of the woodwork to tell me their stories at the same place. And they were crazy, insane stories. And that's what, so that led me to write Lab Rats because I realized also there was a new kind of suffering at work that wasn't, the work is so hard, the hours are long, or my boss is a jerk. It was more like this psychological suffering, and people left these places with their self-esteem in tatters. They were really destroyed. Yeah. Like, they really left feeling like I am really no good. I thought I was good, but I'm not good. And over and over, I heard people tell me that. It was very sad.
And that's right. I just am recalling in your book that you had one such experience where you had a really extremely toxic boss who tried to make your life hell in an attempt to make you flee the company, which ultimately I did. But this happens everywhere. It's so relatable.
Yeah, it was a weird experience because I had heard of that tactic. Like it didn't happen in journalism. People very rarely got fired.
Or graduated, right?
Yeah, they call it graduated, and they were all happy for you, and they put in an email, oh, so-and-so graduated, we can't wait to see what they're going to do next. And when they'd say that, they didn't have anything next, which meant they were fired, right? Because if someone left for a job, they'd be like, well, he's got a job at Google, and we're so happy for him. But this was just like, can't wait to see. And you would get fired. You would graduate, like you get Wednesday night Wednesday after the end of the day or whatever. They just tell you, don't come tomorrow.
Oh boy.
Like, it's just done. Bye. Like out of the blue, people get kneecapped all the time. And, no
psychological safety in that kind of an environment when it could be like your name any day, right? Like your head.
Right. And then it's like you see it happening all the time, and then you're the survivors, right? And you're kind of like, oh God, yeah, it creates this feel like it could happen to any of us. And but I think some people didn't feel that because they felt so much part of like the in group.
Yes.
Like you didn't really have to be good. You just had to be.
That's right. There was something, you called it something in the book. It was like the boss. It was basically like failing up. Like when you get in early enough at a tech company, you can continually be promoted into roles you should have no access to whatsoever. And I think it was something that maybe Steve Jobs coined it.
The bozo explosion.
Oh, but that's it. Yes, the bozo explosion. And so you're surrounded by these people where you're like, him? He has that job? Like what? Like how? Right? And that I've seen over and over again in my career too.
Have you, like where people...
Oh, yeah.
If you're popular, it's like high school, but like you're popular and so everybody likes you.
100%. That is very much in play for sure.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You've experienced that?
Absolutely.
Did you ever feel like you were the outside one?
Sadly, yes, always. I was never the bozo getting pushed up the rungs of the ladder. Unfortunately, I would have loved to be. I'm like, hey, if this is how it goes, if you fail up, like pick me. Why not me? I'm in. I'm ready. I'll maybe even do well and continue going up for you. But yeah, no, I saw it pretty much everywhere.
A lot of it seemed to have to do with enthusiasm.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, by the way, we aren't suggested to have as much of that as we get older, right? I actually had someone interview me recently and ask me, like, how do you keep your energy up? How do you stay energetic? And I was like, wait, I'm not sure if this is a coded way of saying you are old, or like if you're actually thinking I'm low energy or something. It was very awkward, but I can only imagine it's going to get 10 times worse as I get older.
You say Adderall,
Yeah.
You say Adderall. How do you do it? I don't know. That's what I do. I start every day with vitamin A.
That's amazing.
Yeah, tell them that.
Yeah. So there's a shortage, Dan. There's a shortage. I can't get the meds I actually need.
And you didn't. Oh, that's right. I heard those meds are in short supply.
Yep, it's real.
And then you didn't get that job, or you haven't heard yet? Or what?
Oh, no. That was actually a job that I held in the past. But I remember during the interview process, that question was asked of me, and I was like, and the guy who asked it was older than I am by a lot. And I was like, what's this? I don't know. Yeah, maybe it was because I'd mentioned I had kids, which, by the way, I don't advise a lot of people to do unless it's somehow coming up on the interviewer's part and you're creating rapport. Otherwise, I'm like, it only seeks to hurt me as a woman. So as a man, they're probably like, promotion, you're a dad. You're such a good dad. You got your wife at home, right? She's taking kids, right? There's still in play very much.
Have you seen that video went viral recently on like TikTok with this UPS driver talking about his wife? He was
no.
It's a twist where he starts off by saying, I don't help my wife with the cooking, I don't help with the cleaning, I don't help raise the kids, and he's thinking, okay. And then he turns around and he says, because those are my jobs, like I do those things too. I'm not helping her, like I'm a man, and like this is like stop getting over this idea that you help your wife with that stuff. Like no, step up. Yeah, it was pretty cool, but. Yeah, I think, there also, I heard stories of women getting pregnant and then suddenly, there's some performance problem and you're gone.
It's interesting how that occurs in relation to, in proximity to the pregnancy.
But I think there are other companies that are really great, that really, treat people really well.
Hope.
And it does come down to the culture. And I think the culture starts with the founders. And
Yeah.
And I've noticed that in other, I don't know if you ever have, like, are your kids in school?
Yes.
I forget how old they are, like 6 and 8 are your kids? Yeah.
My kids are in school. Elementary.
So yeah, elementary a little too early. My kids went to a private middle school and transferred there. And they had this culture, you know, and it was like, it was really good. It was just, I really admired the culture of the school. And I was wondering, how do they do this? Because, you know, every year it's a new group of kids. But I realized a lot of it had to do with the headmaster who had come in. And it set this example of what, you know, how we operate and what we do. And I think a lot of it, culture is fascinating to me, but I think a lot of it stems from leadership and from people who are leaders, who are walking the walk, so to speak, who are acting, you know, setting an example. But you're young to feel like old about the workplace, I think, aren't you? I mean, you know.
I'm 41 next week.
Wow,
but
you're so brave to say that.
I'm trying to change things, right? Like, we should all be proud of our age.
You're 41 next week?
41 next week.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you.
What day is it? October what?
The 24th.
Okay.
Big horoscope guy over there?
What's that?
Are you a big horoscope guy?
No, I was wondering, I don't know. What horoscope is that?
I thought that's where you were going to go with this. But
I don't know those things.
Casper. I'm a Libra and a Scorpio, both. So
I know just enough of that to know that, like, you should avoid Scorpios at all costs. Right. Isn't that the case? I more than dated. I was madly in love with a woman who was a Scorpio when I was young.
Yeah.
She was.
I guess you dodged a bullet. What can I say?
You know, we're still friends. We talk all the time. We had one of those like crazy toxic relationships that's also like, and yeah.
No, probably good that one ended. See, I'm also a Libra. Yeah. I identify as a Libra. So
what are Libras like?
Libras are the water sign, so we're very loving and open and kind, etc.
Oh. Yeah. You know, the one that freaks me out more than the horoscope stuff, and I don't know how old this stuff is what's your love language?
Oh,
do you know that stuff?
I read that book forever ago.
You did?
Yeah. I don't remember the thing from it. I was like, I think I like all of these things. It was like, which one do you like? It was like, you like gifts? Do you like words of affirmation? Do you like physical contact? I was like, all of them? Check.
Yeah. I'll take all of that. That all sounds good. Yeah. I for a while, I don't know. Yeah, it must have been, that's an old thing, right? I remember meeting people or talking to people and they'd be like, oh, have you heard about love language? Like, what's your love language? I'm like, you know.
Now it's a quiz to get your email, right? It's like, find out which, variety of coffee you are or something,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But my son and I just started watching this documentary last night. It's a series about this. I guess it was a cult called Twin Flames. Have you heard of this?
Oh my God. I've heard of the concept of twin flames. Tell me more. I guess I'm going to get sucked in though.
My son's taking a course in college, freshman year, about cults. And
fascinating.
Yeah. And then somehow he's home because he's sick. And we were buzzing through the channels last night. And I saw something about twin flames because he and I kind of like cult things or, weird, like unexplained mysteries, kind of UFO things. We watch all those things because they're just crazy,
Funny enough.
And he's like, oh, Dad, yeah, I've heard of twin flames. You got to watch this. So we checked it out. And it was like this couple, right? And they had this idea, the twin flame idea is that everybody out there has someone who is not like your soulmate. It's even more than a soulmate. It's like, you're half of it and they're the other half, and you just have to find each other. And it's like divinely inspired. And so it began as kind of like it became like self-help run by this couple, only they became almost like cult leaders and it got very culty.
Multimillionaires, I'm sure.
Yeah, they made a fortune. And I only watched the first episode last night, so I'm dying to see where it goes. But I love that concept too, that you have a twin flame. And it was like all these... Just in the first episode, you start to see where it's going wrong, where people are like, well, this guy, I really like him. He comes into the store but I haven't talked to him yet, but I'm pretty sure he's my twin flame. They're like, he is your twin flame. And you have to take action, right? But then they would be like, this guy blocked me on Facebook, and they're like, you have to go to his house, knock on his door, because you love him and and he loves you. He loves you. He just needs you to act. So they had to turn people into stalkers.
That is horrendous.
It's so funny.
Awful.
It's great, man. It's great. I don't know why we're talking about this, but anyway, you're going to edit all this out, right?
I think everyone's looking for their twin flame employer version. So,
wow, look at how you brought that back. You are good. Yes.
Threading the needle. So you've learned a lot about the tech industry through living in it, working first at that company that shall go unnamed unless you go purchase the book Disrupted, which everyone should go do, obviously. But after that, you continued your work in the tech industry. You also got to parody it on the fantastic show HBO Silicon Valley, which is hysterical. And if people listening to the show haven't watched that, that's like, I mean, come on, guys, let's go. But then you got into the sobering analysis of Silicon Valley and the tech industry at large with Lab Rats. And now you are working at DocuSign, which I would imagine has to be somewhat of a twin flame for you because you are there and you've been there a while and you seem happy. So tell us, as you've gotten older, as you've gotten more experience, 10 plus years in the tech industry, what should people be looking out for to find their twin flame employer?
Wow. That's such a good question. And we should start a twin flame cult around employing, like basically headhunting, recruiting.
Yes. Twin flame. I love it.
Because that was the premise of the cult was we're going to help you find your twin flame.
Brilliant.
But I would say
here today, Dan, we started it. Our little startup.
We should record. Well, we are recording this, so we'll know the origin story of this.
Yeah, exactly.
We probably do better finding jobs for other people than.
How about for us?
yeah. Right. We should both get. I love my job. I love where I work, and for the first time since I think I was at Newsweek, like I wake up every day and just like psyched to. I work at home, but like psyched to go to work. I somehow got really lucky, and DocuSign has this amazing culture. It's one of the things that it's like 20 years old, so it's not a startup, and it's that culture has baked in that people always say. Everyone who works there will say, "What do you like best?" It's like I love the people. I work with great people, and right now the company's in this period of transition. Right after I joined, the entire leadership team basically turned over. So it's almost like a whole new company, or it's a new team with a new vision for this very cool established company. Like, how are we going to build this next act for the company? So if you like that, some people I think want to be in a place that's, it's all, you fit in and do the role because someone else used to have this job and now you have it. Or you can, in a role in this place, there's a little bit of not chaos, but there's a lot of change. You know what I mean? And if you see that as an opportunity, which I do, then it's a great place to be. But yeah, it's like, honestly, it's really, really fun. And I get to do stuff that's a lot like journalism. And so it's crazy. It kind of has my twin flame. And
DocuSign and Dan Lyons.
It kind of is. And not every, there's people of all ages. And
are you guys hiring?
Huh?
You guys hiring? Just saying.
They might be. We'll talk out. I'm probably, but they really, honestly, like, we had a meet and greet in Boston for whoever wanted to come, go out for drinks. And like, they're all, people in sales. And so nobody's in comms. Like, I'm in communications, but it's a very small group. But these people were all great. I was like, I want to hang out with you guys all the time. Like, they're just,
that's awesome.
They've all been around a bit, they're kind of veterans, and they, anyway, so it's, this is my twin flame job. But how would you go about finding your twin flame job? I guess first you'd have to know.
Let's give some people some hope, because you know what? We're all getting older every passing minute, right? And most of us can't, be independently wealthy. So we kind of need to have jobs and stuff.
I wish I could be.
Show us the way, Dan. Like, give us some hope.
At Shaker Recruitment Marketing, our comprehensive services include branding, talent attraction, MarTech, and analytics, empowering you to achieve your recruitment marketing goals. We believe in doing things the right way, delivering the right message through the right activation, achieving the right conversion. For us, business is deeply personal. Our legacy is built on relationships. Together with our people, clients, and partners, we've been shaping the world of talent for over 70 years.
Well, don't you think? I think, first of all, so the big thing about twin flames, we're going to beat this metaphor to death, but it is commitment, right? It's like you don't have a twin flame that you're going to be twin flames for 18 months, right? And then you're going to go find the next twin flame, right? And so I think, I'm not sure if, employment for life, well, we're never going back to that. And I'm not even sure that was great, but that's like my dad's generation. My dad worked at one company his whole career, retired, pension, blah, blah. But I do think, and it ties back to that like best places to work thing. When an employer conveys that there's a commitment to stay with you and to help you grow and to provide you with things that make your life good, it brings out the best in people. And it creates, like you said, mentioned psychological safety, that sense of, no, you belong here. And I think, that would be, even in an interpersonal relationship, you'd need that to be called a twin flame. Like, what do they call it? Harmonious twin flame union. They have like all these terms, but like, yeah. And but like, basically it has to come down to people on both sides have to be like, I'm going to commit to you, the company. I'm going to really, do a lot. And the company says, yeah, good. And we're going to commit to you. Right. So, I mean, I always wondered, like, the thing at that startup was like, we want you to be completely devoted to us. We want you to wear swag every day to work. The company color was orange. So people would buy orange sneakers and orange watches and orange this. But we don't have any commitment to you. Like,
right.
You should have.
It was very disjointed
Yeah.
way poorly. Yeah.
But, and I think, I don't know. I think, yeah, twin flame employers. That's a really good idea, man. I'm really kind of stuck with that now. I think I'm going to have a hard time getting that out of my head. That was a great idea. Seriously.
It is.
You're like, hey, it's what I do. I come up with great ideas.
What the heck?
I'm going to have like 5 more before this day is over. That's just not even one of the good ones. But
I'm all about innovation and disrupting. Okay. Like,
right. Yeah.
going
Yeah.
past and breaking things stands when
You like to foster collaboration and optimize performance.
all of those things.
I was reading somebody's LinkedIn bio. That's another story. But yeah,
wow.
that is a good metaphor though. And people kind of have to find, because here's the other thing. There's another fit that says, like, if it is a place where you're going to bounce in for 18 months, 2 years, there's a lot of people who want to do that too. So that's their twin flame, right?
Yeah. And you know what? Like, I will say, in defense of people who do that, one of the best things about, and I unintentionally did that. I mean, it was not the plan.
It wasn't your choice.
Not my choice necessarily. In some cases it was. The more recent ones, not so much. We will not get into the reasons I've been leaving certain places and why one such company will literally never go on my resume, because I'm so horrified by what went down at this company.
Really? Oh man.
The things I could tell you. I'm going to put it in a book. It's so bad. Horrendous. Absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Like, so bad. You need to see the receipts to believe it. Like, crazy. In 2023, crazy shit still happens. Like Emily Chang's book, Brotopia, still happening.
I believe that. Yeah.
Like, what I can say about having moved around is I've amassed this amazing network of awesome friends and people that I can call tomorrow and just pick right back up where we left off. And so from that perspective, it's been great. And it's been broadening my horizons and, and my network. I'm not thinking of it in like a transactional way, but like I have all of these friends. And actually, when you're looking for your twin flame employer, what you should be doing is actually connecting with people from your network. So by virtue of having jumped around a bit, do you have a bigger lay of land, right? I have a little bit more of a shot there. But, I'm just looking for a home, Dan. I'm looking for the right place or no place at all, and doing this thing and somehow making it work. But it's, I think people a lot of people don't prefer the concept of having to, have these tours of duty, basically gig working in a white-collar setting. Like not many people are super pumped about that. So, by the way, you should watch if you haven't seen the Super Pumped about Uber.
I haven't seen that show. Is it good?
Oh, it's so good, but it makes
really?
It's kind of like Lab Rats, it just makes you want to just
dystopian.
F out,
Is it on HBO? I'll find it. I don't know.
I think it's on Showtime.
Showtime, okay.
Yeah, but it's really good.
Yeah? Oh, okay. Because I thought that show didn't do very well.
Maybe it didn't, but I loved it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go watch it now.
He was a crush of mine back in the day. So
who? Travis?
Yeah, not Travis Kalanick. Did not like him, but the actor Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He was.
Oh, yeah. He plays the Travis. It's all done. Like the character is called Travis. Yeah, Kalanick or Kalanick.
It's actually about Uber. Yeah.
Yeah. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's a cool guy. He's an interesting actor, isn't he? Yeah,
do you know him?
No. But I mean, I know who he is.
Can you hook it up for me if my husband and I?
Oddly enough, I did meet him once, but it's like
okay.
It was at a big conference, and I was one of the little speakers. And then he was the big name guy that they have because, he's really into tech. He has a startup and stuff.
I didn't even know that. That's funny.
Yeah. He's very tech savvy. And so he was like the big famous speaker that was going to be there. And the rest of us were all little schlubs. And the CEO who ran the company was like, well, part of the perk is we're going to have a VIP meet and greet with
the elbows.
So you all get to shake hands and go like, hey, really like it. Yeah. Really like your work. Yeah. Like, what do you say? Right? What do you say? Like, just, I've seen you on TV, like, oh, yeah, I don't know what to say. But then I started paying attention. Yeah, I think he's a good actor and he gets interesting roles.
Yeah.
He's
I would say. But he
was your love. He was your crush. He was your twin flame.
Many of them. A real full circle moment for me was watching Casper. Do you remember that flick, Casper, with a friendly ghost?
It was about Casper the Friendly Ghost?
There was a film back in, I guess it must have been the 90s. But I watched it with my children. And at the end, and you probably don't know who this is, but for any of the geriatric millennials listening to the show, you may, especially if you're female, know who this is. But at the end of Casper the ghost becomes a boy. And the boy who portrays Casper in this is none other than the crush for every single girl in the 90s, Devon Sawa. And I don't know what Devon Sawa is doing now, but he was back in the 90s. And my own daughter saw Devon Sawa on screen and later said, Mommy, I have a crush on that guy. And I was like, this is too much. This is too much.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So,
I don't know who that is, but
it's okay, Dan. It's okay. So, but anyway, maybe he was my long lost twin flame. Who knows? But
could be.
He could be. But I think what I want to leave people with is the hope, the ray of hope that you ended Lab Rats with and you're ending this interview with, which is there is a place for you in the tech industry. No matter how old we get, even if our hair turns gray, like you can find your twin flame employer and have a great career. I mean, you literally use the word psyched to describe how you feel getting up and going to work. For me, that is inconceivable. So I'm just really thrilled that that is possible. So thank you for making me aware that it's really, maybe it's me, Dan. Maybe I am doing something like,
get some counseling. No, the thing of it is, it's hard. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I think I got lucky. Just got really, really lucky in this because I stumbled into it. But then I got.
You went through it first, Dan. I mean, you did have some trauma prior, so I'm glad you arrived.
And to be honest, maybe part of the reason like that I think this is going well, or is that I learned a lot about mistakes about myself. Like that's the other thing about that book is sort of making fun of tech, but it's also really making fun of myself. It's like I did a lot of stupid stuff. Like I had a lot of. I know. But like, so I learned a lot, I think, and made a lot of mistakes, but.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of growing up, right? And
we're going to get you a job. We're going to get you a job.
That sounds great. I mean, I'm also hoping it might just be this and somehow it'll work out, but
podcasting.
I mean, apparently there's tons of money in podcasting. Just ask Joe Rogan. I'm sure that's just next for me.
Right? I know. Right.
Easy.
I think it would be, some people really make a killing at it.
Some people, I think it's like the 0.0001% of people, kind of like the people who get rich at tech startups with their options. It's like the 0.0001. But anyway, no, we will figure out the good places in tech. Actually, that's one of the missions of this emphasis and this podcast itself, is to highlight employers who are great and do employ people for a long, wonderful, fulfilling career, and, provide opportunities for growth, even if you happen to be, over 40. So we'll want to highlight that. So, DocuSign is getting a nice little call out here for being just that. But the other thing is, you mentioned you've learned a lot over the course of your tech career, and you've done some things right, you've done some things wrong, you've landed where you have. And, I think all of that somewhat sounds like it culminated in your latest book, Shut the F Up. Sorry, Mom. But it's a book all about the fact that we talk too much sometimes. And I love that I'm discussing this on a podcast, but I think when we next have you back, Dan, I think we should talk about that. The lessons that you can learn from that particular book and how to apply them to your tech career to have a longer and better, more fulfilling career in this industry. So
I'd like that. It does apply to work and to personal life, but yeah, that'd be great.
For sure. Well, I think you have shared so much wonderful stuff with us today, and I'm so appreciative that you came on the show. Like I said, this was like a big win for me. I've always admired your work, and really, really thrilled to have you here. So thank you for joining.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's fun to talk about this stuff with you.